What is up, guys? This is the Moving Forward Project. I'm your host, Austin, and I got two guests on today, Peyton and John.
Guys?
John Clay Wilson.
That's me. Hello.
Is Clay your middle name?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is.
It's his full name.
Well, yeah.
It's actually
one word.
First, middle, and last.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's all one.
Oh,
John
okay.
Clay
I
Wilson.
was referring to
John Clay
just the
Wilson.
middle part, but
No.
Do you know me? So when you think about me, do you think about my name as like John, or do you think about my handle?
your
like
handle.
My handle, my full
Like
name.
your name to me when I see you is John Clay Wilson in my head. I'm
That's
like, yeah.
Because to me, I'm just like, I'm John, but everyone's like, John Clay Wilson. And I'm
Yeah.
like, facts. That's me.
It makes me wonder if like people know me by my handle, and it's like every time someone looks at me, they're like, "Oh, not that big."
I
I'm
do
like,
think that subconsciously.
Yeah,
Yeah, for a second.
yeah. Kind of like put myself down with that username, but
I would like to change my handle, but
a page.
I don't know what I'd change it to.
I feel like
And
it's classic.
so much shit's like taken now that you'd have to, like, if I wanted to use my name, I'd have to like use 8 fucking underscores.
Or
You
buy
know.
it from someone.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not doing that. But
I know. I saw
They can have it.
I think it was a podcast clip recently. You know who Sush is? Sush Bra.
Yeah.
He, if you don't know who he is, he's very big, like niche, micro internet celebrity, but he is heavily responsible for Young LA's success. He was one of their first athletes that like got the brand going, and he started the process of getting like a ton of other influencers signed to the brand that obviously has now made it like huge. I mean, like ridiculous how much money they make. But anyways, he was talking about how he DM'd the person who had the, because his @ is Soosh, Soosh,
yeah.
Bruh, Brah, and he DM'd the person who had just Soosh, Soosh. He was like, "I will literally pay you $5,000 for this @ And they fucking blocked him. They wouldn't even.
I would negotiate.
Damn.
I would have been like,
What about 10K?
right? Yes,
Yeah.
If you're
immediately,
dumb enough to pay $5,000 for it,
dude.
I'm gonna definitely say more.
And then James English said that he also DM'd that account to be like, "Hey, you blocked my friend. He was really serious about offering you like a lot of money for this username. I'll even counter his offer and do like more." Blocked. Like,
Damn,
what
dude.
the-
what
Oh.
type of idiot is this?
It's probably some young kid, like 13-year-old. He's like, "Oh,
Dude.
screw these people."
It's probably some like 40-year-old
Or
that's
it could
like
be that too.
they're trying to
Some boomer
scam. They're trying to
kids.
scam me.
Yeah,
I don't.
trying to
And it's
scam
like,
me, yeah.
nah, dude. No profile picture or anything.
I'm glad I don't have that to worry about.
Yeah. I got my inspiration from, I was on TikTok one day, and there was a guy that was selling vintage clothes, and his username was something like, "not that cool," or something like that. And I kept seeing this ad over and over and over, and I'm like, that username like sucks. I don't like it. And then I was like, well, what if I change it a little bit? Not that
Yeah.
big sounds like pretty good.
So I have a question for you. When you become, this 240-pound, 6% body fat monster, are you gonna keep not that big?
Yeah.
Okay, it'll be ironic then. It'll be like
The way of living.
Absolutely.
It's the mindset.
It
Never
is.
big enough.
Never big enough. Exactly. I've like vaguely talked about it on my story, like here and there, but no matter how physically large I get, someone is always bigger than me. Someone's always stronger than me.
there's always Thor out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone's always got more followers than me, or just like
it's almost like the humble,
Yeah.
the humble tag, or whatever you call that. What do you call a fucking
Humility?
at name?
Humility.
What's that shit called?
username.
We just said it. Yeah, username, but you called it something else.
Oh, handle.
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 Goodness,
Handle.
man.
Yeah.
I
Boomer
wonder-
over here. I can't think of any of the words.
Dude, I want to know who like came up with these random phrases.
Yeah, why
like,
is it
what
called
is
a
handle?
Yeah. Because I think handle, like alcohol.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we're handle liquor.
Yeah.
Yeah, like let's go get a handle and let's
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Well, reason we have a couple good old boys in the house today is because John has finally brought something that has been in the works for, I don't know, about 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
Guys,
Since I was
you
12.
look like you aged about, I'm just kidding. But we had you on the show, the All or Nothing show, probably a year ago,
Yeah.
at least. You sort of taken the leap, starting your own brand and creating your own products, which I think is, I'm glad that you were able to come on the show and I guess unveil and talk about your product a little bit that you're bringing. But I think it's very good for not only the supplement industry. I realize there's a lot of brands, but good people trying to create unique, just good products. Not in it to just like, hey, let me see if I can make a quick buck. Because if you do jump into anything like that, especially supplements, most likely you aren't going to make a quick buck. But yeah, no more introduction. Tell us a little bit about what you got in this box right here.
Yeah, so Peyton's already seen it, but I'll show you.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's crazy. Like a year ago is when I first came on. It was Yumi and Brock, and I was like, "Yo, I have this idea," and like I had formed the LLC, and I was building all this hype.
Yep.
And then it was like a year of just getting screwed over, pretty much, which you know a bit about, and maybe we'll talk about later. But yeah, let me show you what's in the box. So
This feels like Christmas.
I know, right?
We're getting pretty close though. So I mean,
We are.
Yeah, here we go.
Sheesh.
So this is how about for you as well to see. You've already seen it now.
I've done more than seen it.
Yeah, so it's a nootropic based pre-workout called Berserker Brew. It's a mix of stimulants. It's a mix of things that are good for your brain, just good for you to give you energy and focus. But everything is made by me. From the formula was months of samples and redoing the formula, to the label design was made by me entirely. All of it, yeah.
Dude, well, mad respect, because when we started Gym Flow, which back then we definitely didn't have, we weren't working with manufacturing anything, but I had the help, just random people helping create our first labels, which were on like Microsoft Word with like clip art and shit. But this is like crazy for your first label. This is pretty fucking sick, especially if you did it, all the graphic and layers and tactile and soft touch. It's crazy. It feels good, looks good. And I think it's a very clean and, I don't know, just catchy label, man. Just the little potion right there. That's pretty cool.
Thanks.
So
Yeah.
sick, yeah.
I had this, I knew when I was going into it that I wanted to start like out of the gate with just everything put together.
Yeah.
So the label took about 1 to 2 months to make. And then I talked with the label manufacturer, and I was like, okay, I know I want like a clear varnish on it. So you got like the tactile feel. I know I want a metallic foil because that would just look awesome under the light.
Yeah. Which it does.
Hell yeah.
If you can't tell through the camera, I can verify in person. This shit looks fucking dope.
Yeah, and so it's got all the elements that I wanted, and the potions, and the whole theme of the company. The company's called Level Up Alchemy, and the theme that we're going with is when you take these supplements, you mix in your shaker bottle, sort of like drinking a little potion. So just brainstorming these ideas, and I was really into video games growing up, and I was like, hey, I could have like these crazy names, because so many of these companies have names, and it's just like pre-pump protein, and like the consumer knows what they're getting, and it's minimalist, but it's a little boring for me. So I was like, man, what if I come up with all these names of potions? It could be like Berserker Brew and like Goblin Sweat, and just the possibilities are endless.
And I think that helps create brand. It helps you stand apart, and especially if you want to be not generic, but you want to be simple enough for people to get it, but have your own twist or unique branding aspect to it. Because if you just do pump, sometimes it gets a little boring, and people don't get that excitement when they go to see it or pick it up, and like they feel a certain way about it, which I think this is really, really cool, for real.
I love that it says fully dosed, mind altering, nootropic elixir. Like, that just sounds so good. Like, elixir?
Yeah, man.
I would buy it just off of the fact that there's elixir written on the tub. Like, that sounds like what I need. You know what I mean?
So, has obviously these are unopened tubs. Well, that's an open tub right there. How long until has this already launched?
No, so it's gonna launch Black Friday.
Black Friday.
Yeah, 2 p.m. So,
okay, nice.
So I got this stuff about a week or two ago, in a giant pallet to my driveway.
Yeah.
And so my office is just filled with pre-workout.
Yeah.
But so like the website's up and everything, but it's password locked because I'm waiting to release everything at the same time. And the plan is to have it release on Black Friday, both on my website, but also in a retail store at the same time.
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. That's awesome. As far as this, you have one flavor.
Yeah.
Sour watermelon gummy.
Dude, sniff that.
We'll sniff right now.
It smells really good.
So the flavor is like Sour Patch Kids.
It
like a
has that definitely that smell or vibe to it.
Can confirm, does taste very accurate.
Yeah, dude. And so it's dropping Black Friday. What are some things? Maybe are you doing any type of promotions when you drop it, or what?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I also have like shaker bottles and sticker packs and a bunch of other stuff that like just accessories. So we're going to do bundles when it drops. When I haven't decided yet, but it'll probably be like a buy 2, get a free shaker bottle kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought about doing a promo that I still might do, where it'll be the first 10 will have signed. It'll be like 10% off of the first 10 units, and they'll be signed by me. But yeah, lots of plans for basically like a week straight of the promotional, the marketing, the advertisement, building the hype back up, and then dropping Black Friday, both in the stores and on my website.
Nice, dude. Yeah. Nice. With this, do you plan to, I know this is maybe a little far out, you just want to sort of get it out there and see how the reactions are, the feedback, but do you already have plans for more flavors, different products? What sort of is like your, I guess, soft direction with this brand?
Okay, so this, because in fact I've seen your box. You have a box full of labels.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I ordered this unit, so I ordered like one of the smaller quantities. It's like 300 units, and when I got the labels, my rep for the manufacturer did not communicate to me that I had to purchase 1,000 labels.
Yeah.
So I have 300 units, and now I have 700 or so random labels laying around in a giant roll. Yeah, which is like, and each label is like, one sticker is like $1.
Oh yeah.
So it's,
no, you're
it's
just
like
if you toss them away, that's pretty.
You're burning cash.
I had a lot of them sitting there in a box, lots.
Yeah. So the plan is to go stay narrow for now before I expand the product line. Now, ideally in the future, we are going to have multiple flavors, multiple products. Maybe after a pre-workout, it'll either be like a stim-free pre-workout or a greens product or an amino product.
Yeah.
But for right now, the plan is to keep this flavor. The next batch we go, so once I sell about half of it, we'll launch the same flavor again. And then I'll see probably about doing another flavor with the same formula.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have all these labels. I'm not going to use the same manufacturer because they suck a lot. So outside looking in, people could be like, "Oh, he just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing." You just don't know until you jump in. You're creating something from scratch, and I realize this because we did our journey over the past 6 or 7 years with Gym Flow. It's just this shit's hard, and you don't know what hiccups or what other like companies are gonna like fall or cut corners or just drop the ball, I guess is the best term, on holding their end on manufacturing or turnaround times or this or that. It's just so many things that are out of your control once you put that money down or deposit down or even that idea and you're ready to go, but they can just drop the ball left and right. So it sucks until you build like a good relationship and find a good manufacturer to partner with. Yeah. What's crazy is I've gone through 3 reps with this one company. This company is pretty reputable. They make like Black Magic and Chemix and a bunch of other stuff.
No, they're big.
Yeah. And
which is sad.
I know. Really sad.
Because a lot of these big brands are slinging to people and it's just like, how are they able to keep up,
Yeah. And my first rep quit. The second rep quit as well.
Yeah.
Then the third rep, we had to start. We basically every rep I had to start from scratch. They were like, "Oh, the other guy had all the files on his computer. We can't get them." Started from scratch. Every single time I had to get a new quote. And this whole time for the whole year, they've had $6,000, $7,000. They've had over half my deposit. And
which I know we talked about. I would have packed my car up and I would have drove my ass down there, man. But it's easier to say than do it. But I think after a couple months, man, shit. Yeah, I would have made a visit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But at least you already know that like you're moving forward. You know what the direction is now. So it's water under the bridge. But during that time, man, damn.
It's also hard. I feel like, obviously you two have started supplement companies here. So this is a bit more of an outside perspective. But it's not like you can just ask them what their process is like. Like, it's not like there's a Rate My Professor, but for supplement companies.
No.
There's no Yelp review.
Yeah, and the only way you're really going to find out even what the product is going to be like is by ordering samples, which is still pretty fucking expensive.
And it doesn't really guarantee them like following through on what their promises are, what they, their protocols or procedures, which is crazy.
And especially if they have larger supplement companies. Like, that's what I would, if I was in your shoes, I would have thought the same thing. Like, they got these several large companies that sell plenty of units. So I would assume that they're a pretty good, what is it? A manufacturer?
Manufacturer.
Yeah, I did my research before, and I looked at multiple manufacturers, and I wanted someone who could do everything in-house, and that means like, because at first I was like, okay, I could get someone to do the mixing of the form, get the ingredients, do the mixing, and then I need to contract a label company, and then someone to bottle it. But some of these manufacturers do everything in-house. So I picked one that was reputable, and they just kept dropping the ball, and it's crazy that so many people just don't do their jobs. They just don't reply to emails. I'm like, you have one job, and it's to like be my rep and reply to me because I'm giving you money. And every week, it was at one point, every 3 days, I would send an email to my rep and to my rep's boss to be like, yo, where's my money? Like, what's going on?
I don't want to get on a tangent, but me and Peyton were talking a little bit, and maybe we talked to other days about it too, but it's like people just, I don't know how they feed themselves at night sometimes, whether they like the way they act and like hold themselves to any type of standard, if at all. It's like, how do you make it home? How do you make it home without falling down?
Yeah.
How do you sleep at night?
How do you pay your bills? Because, we're out here trying our fucking nuts off to, create something cool, create a business, a company, a brand with integrity behind it. And, these big name companies can just skirt by cutting corners or just being lazy as shit. It's like, how is that the way like it's supposed to be done? It's just it's mind-boggling. But obviously, maybe we just don't see on the inside that they maybe aren't doing as well as we think. Whether it not be the manufacturer, but just brands in general, companies that like maybe they're on the downhill spiral, and that's just we're starting to see the face of it now.
I was listening to the 48 Laws of Power. It's a book that Brock told me to listen to. And on the way here this morning, it was talking about like your reputation is everything. So don't do anything that would destroy your reputation, because that's like a display of what your character is, what expectations of you and what you're going to do or say you're going to do is. And I feel like these companies that hire these reps who half-ass their job are really shooting themselves in the foot. Like I don't care if you're paying them out the ass. If they can't successfully communicate, like that's hurting your bottom line. Because think about it this way. Let's say they finished your product and everything 6 months ago. You could have already be sold out of product by now, potentially ordering a second line of product.
Yeah.
They're just shooting themselves in the foot by hiring these people who don't seem to care. And I obviously can't speak on like them as a person, but to me, an email is like, bro, it's just some words on a screen. You can't throw some words on a screen back. Like, it's not that difficult.
At least hey, we're working on it. And that's it,
And it sounded like, and not just, again, us just pitching back and forth, trying to belittle these people, but
let's belittle
it's
them.
Like, transparency with anything that you do, Like, I'm sure if somebody reached out to you about your products like we would do, it's like, hey, I'm going to at least respond back to it, say I received it. And if I don't truly know what the hell is going on, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to figure it out. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm not just going to throw out some shit and be like, oh, just another 6 weeks, or we're waiting for this or waiting for that. Because it sounds like you were getting just past like hot potato.
Yeah,
who can we toss them to next? And it's like, just be real with me. Just be a real human being. Have some transparency, and I'll probably end up at least not hating you now. I might not work with you still, but I won't now hate you and to talk shit about you. Not talk shit. You know what I'm saying, though? But like not have good intentions or, conversations when the word of manufacturing comes up. Now, if that manufacturer's brought up their name, you're like, hey, you're gonna be like, hey, don't mess with them.
Yeah.
So they don't, I guess they do realize that, but they don't, that like, that's starting a grapevine of just bad karma, bad juju.
I mean, it goes to show that whether it's B2B or B2C, experience is everything. And if you can't provide a good experience to someone you're doing business with or providing business to, why would they come back to you?
It's something that I have written on the wall, and I try and look at it as often as I can. And I think about it when I'm doing anything that like I get tired or get like frustrated with. And it's like, we are only as good as the example we set. If you aren't walking the walk and like actually doing what you say you're going to do, then it holds nothing. You fold. You're on a house of cards, a deck of cards or a stack of cards, whatever that saying is. What I'm saying? I'm a man of few words, but and unless you're leading by example, then you can talk all day, but it's gonna fold in on you.
It's a crazy thing before we get off of trash talking this manufacturer a little bit, but for me to get this product to be okay, so they've got my money for a while, for almost a year now. For me to actually have something happen, because the whole time I was like, okay, I could go down there, but the lights at the end of the tunnel right here, we're so close. We're at it was every rep, we were at the last stage of the process.
Yeah.
And for me to finally get them to pull the trigger, I sent a huge email to everyone on the entire team, to all of the finance department, to their director of sales, his boss. And I was like, look, guys, I was like, either give me an answer by the end of this week, ASAP, or I'm pulling all my money out and I'm filing a claim with Better Business Bureau, because this is ridiculous. And you guys are wasting my time. You're not being transparent. You're not being open with me. Like, this has been a waste of just a year. And then on my end, building all the hype, doing all the sample rounds, getting everyone involved in the community. We did like 30 samples, like 3 rounds. All my friends and people who potential customers were like, yo, check this out.
I had those first samples.
That was like a year ago. And now
I kept it. I actually, the little baggies that you kept, that Miranda wrote like the note on.
Yeah.
I kept that. I still have it in my apartment right now.
Still whiffs it out and takes a sniff.
Dude, it's better than I remember. Because I believe you were going between, there was a lemonade flavor and the watermelon flavor.
Yeah.
They're both so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pink lemonade and then the sour watermelon. But
sorry to cut you off and going on.
Oh, just that's what it took to be like, yo, get your shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the response to that email like?
The response was a very quick, we apologize for the inconvenience, and this is where we are at this stage. This is where I think we'll be in this at this time.
And that's again.
Who was the one that responded? Was it your rep?
My rep. So my third rep, finally, it was not the director, but the third rep was like, we apologize. This is the timeline I'm thinking. If this is not something you want to do, we'll give you all your money back right now. And I was like, okay, if you promise me right now that we can do this timeline, then I'll stick it out for the next 2 weeks. But if it doesn't happen in 2 weeks, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
I think that's totally valid, though. I mean,
no, 100%, dude.
Yeah.
If anything, I would have full-fledged been behind you. I would have went to court for you saying, hey, he deserved to drive down there and throw a knuckle sandwich in somebody's face.
I'd be outside yelling with a sign like, get his ass.
Protesting.
Free John. Free John.
Free John.
Because he whooped somebody's ass down there. But, dude, I think that's a great part. What a great, story or guest to have on the first really episode of being in here with guests and whatnot, is the story of, making it through some hardships like that, right?
Yeah.
Moving forward. And I think a lot of people would have been folded by that. Not that we are, above anybody else. When I say we, it's us in this room or trying to talk that way, but shit's hard out there. Yeah. Trying to do anything cool takes effort, and you're going to have to jump through some hurdles, take a few punches, eat a couple shit sandwiches.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And keep moving forward, like one foot in front of the other, one day at a time. Just as long as you don't quit and just give up, it'll happen.
Yeah, I truly believe that, like, nothing really worth it is easy.
Yeah.
And
it shouldn't be.
Yeah, and otherwise everything would be great and fantastic, but it's not how it is. So if you want anything to be great, you got to put in the work and you got to be consistent, whether that's stuff in your day-to-day life, your relationships, or business or whatever.
Yeah.
One quick thing is I kept seeing you post a teaser once, I think. Mm-hmm. Do you do 3D rendering?
Yeah, so
I'm gonna have to holler at you, dude. I've always I don't mean to cut you off, but I for the past, like, trying to promote or hype up any of our products, I'll have to wait until labels are printed, and then I'd have to ask them for a blank tub, shim me a blank tub, and I'll wrap it by hand and then start shooting pictures of it. And it still doesn't come out like as cool as some of those 3D renderings that you can like throw graphics and make it spin and shit and whatever.
Yeah, so that's something I taught myself. So, because I know how to do
that's awesome
graphic design and illustration and all that, but the 3D, what happened was I was sitting waiting around for the product, and I was like, well, I'm wasting my... I was like, what else am I going to do? So
I have to create this out of thin air now.
Yeah. And so I didn't have the label. I didn't have the product. And I was like, hey, will you send me a sample? And they're like, oh, well, we don't do that because that's a waste of money for them.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm going to learn how to make 3D models. And so I just learned how to model and I learned how to label. And I've now learned how to all of these tactile elements and metallic foils and gloss finishes, and they're just materials and you can combine them all in a certain way, and I've figured out how to do all that and animate it.
Yeah, it's sick, dude.
So did you said you taught yourself the 3D rendering. Mm-hmm. Did you also teach yourself like Photoshop, Illustrator, those types of programs as well?
Yeah, but that was a while ago. Nice. So Yeah, growing up, I used to just really big, and I don't do art that much anymore.
Yeah.
But growing up, I learned how to use Photoshop, and it's another program called GIMP, which is free. But yeah, learn how to do that, and then
GIMP.
GIMP.
Like, what does that do?
It's just Photoshop.
Okay.
It's just the free version because Photoshop is Adobe. GIMP
Yeah.
is like the free open source format
It's
of
like
it.
a perfect name for it, like the free version.
Yeah.
GIMP. That sounds like just free, dude.
Oh, what'd you do this on? You know,
Oh, just GIMP.
just GIMP.
Yeah, so I learned how to do that pretty young, and then did a bunch of art classes. I almost went to VCU for art, actually.
Really? I didn't know that.
For communication art. But my parents were like, "Oh, you got to make money," so I didn't do that. But
Parents keeping us on Earth, you know.
yeah, keeping me humble.
Yeah.
So I learned how to do that. So I already knew coming into this 3D modeling, I already knew how to make a label. I already knew how to like the potion and stuff. I knew how to draw and make stickers and use Photoshop and all that. So the label was pretty easy. The 3D modeling was not, though.
So how long would you say it took you to be able to figure the 3D model out and then to get a 3D render of your own product?
Yeah, so to make a 3D model, that took maybe like a week or two because it's just a cylinder. You know, it's pretty easy. But then to apply the label and then apply the material effects and the combination, because this, I'll show you guys a picture later, but this one label and a 3D model, it's like 12 different elements that are all wired together in specific ways, and they all have specific emission values and rates of, it's called an index of refraction. So like the metallic has a different material versus the gloss so on and so on.
Right.
Yeah, and so, man, that took like 2 months. And then my computer, so I have a PC that I built.
Yeah.
It had like no RAM, like which I knew I needed, but everything else of the computer is like top of the line.
Yeah.
And so every time I try rendering, it would take like an hour. So sometimes it would take an entire day
to see if it even like came together.
And half the time it looked like shit.
Damn.
So I would put it on my computer overnight, make it render a 2-second animation.
Yeah.
And then check it the next day. And half the time I'm like, well, that wasn't the lighting that I wanted. That's not what I want.
So did you end up getting a new RAM as well? Nice.
So that's the first solution I got. I just upgraded my RAM, and now I use it's pretty cool. It's like a server farm. So I use basically a farm of graphics cards.
Yeah.
That when I make a render, it pulls the power from that.
Nice.
Yeah. And now I'm making an animation right now. I put it on before I came here. It's just an animation of the bottle rotating, basically.
Right.
Yeah, that was sick. I think that's the one I saw.
Yeah.
That was sick.
Yeah, and that takes me to do like 3-4 seconds of an animation. It takes maybe 20 minutes.
Okay.
At most.
Much better.
I'm pumping them out now.
I think a cool topic to switch gears to, and I think some people that don't know anything about starting a business or a company or a brand, and just simply how did you go about? Did you create a business plan, and then second, did you fund it yourself, or did you get a loan, or what did you do?
Okay, so I'll answer the money one first because that's the easiest. So 90% of the money is my own.
Okay.
It's just money. I had a ton of money in savings, and I have a portfolio, so I've got it, in an IRA and stocks, and so it was money I could comfortably play with, and I was like, okay,
that's good to know.
It's not, it's not my rent money, but I was like, either I can put this money into more stocks and play the retirement game, which is safe, or I was like, I could just put this money and my time into something that I want to do, something I am passionate about.
Yeah.
And so it's about $7,000 to $8,000 of my own money, and then the other $2,000 to $3,000. I was like, hey mom, what you want to give me some more money? So
you willing to invest?
Yeah. I was like, here's
Be
the
my
ROI.
first investor, please.
Here's the profit margins. I gave her the pitch, the Shark Tank pitch.
That's awesome. And I'm in.
I'm in. Shout out, mom.
Yeah, she's in for. But then that the last thing I wanted to do was, and maybe I'll do this eventually, but the last thing I wanted to do was go to a business partner who could give me the capital and then own a percentage of the company. I don't want that. Or go to a bank with a high loan rate, high interest rate. Yeah, didn't want to do that either. So I was like, well, most of the whole pre-workout is all my money, but some of the little accessory things that is funded through my parents. I guess. Yeah,
and it's stuff. At least the bulk of it, is yours, and you could easily, set up a payment plan of some sort to pay them back over a year or two.
I could pay them back,
and I'm sure you could just pull it out of whatever because you missed your money bags. I'm just kidding, but But, that's cool, though. I think a lot of people don't realize that, there are other ways besides getting a bank loan or finding, family friends or whatever to not put yourself in debt, but to take that leap or investment into your business or brand. That's cool.
Yeah, I personally, I hate the idea of having to owe someone money.
Yeah.
Just in the back of my head. Even if it's my parents, and it's, I can pay them back whenever. I just don't like it. Don't like the idea.
I feel that so much because I am going to owe so much. I currently owe so much for student loans.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a looming thing over my head, but I have to kind of have to just not think about it because it's I'm going to have to pay it off. It's going to get paid off eventually. It's not going to be so much to where I'm not going to be able I'm living a pretty good life right now. And I only need but so much to enjoy myself. I don't need to have thousands and thousands of dollars just to be happy. But having debt or owing someone, even if it's not money, just owing someone even your time is that uncomfortable.
You feel the weight.
Yeah,
it's pressure on your shoulders and chest. You're like, shit, man.
Which I don't know how people do these outrageous car loans, and then they have a brand new car for so long.
I can understand if you were to take a step back and you were like, hey, I went into the bank and got a $20,000 loan to start this. I'd still understand that instead of somebody getting a $20,000 loan on a car, something that has no return.
You're just losing value.
Yeah, it's losing value, and there's no return. It literally devalues every time you drive it.
Yeah.
That's just a car, for example. But not saying that your way is the only way to do it, but it's cool that you were able to take the time to save up money and have discipline to do that,
Yeah.
I think a lot of kids, they'll see somebody like you that did that and they're like, but how did he do it? It just takes time and discipline to just not spend it.
Yeah. No, it's honestly was not that difficult. It sort of happened. The money sort of accrued without me even realizing it just because, every paycheck put in some money aside and you do that for 6-12 months. And then all of a sudden it got a good chunk of change. And I'm like, well, I run the numbers. I'm like, I just got to sell half of this to break even or so, just about. And I'm like, well, that's worth a shot for me to try with my own money, play around with that. So
going all in on yourself, dude. That's what it's all about.
You were saying you could put money into a retirement plan, but this could potentially become your retirement plan. Obviously that's a very overarching high-end hope, but that first step is all it takes. You got to take the leap of faith.
I think about it more like this, not to say that I don't see myself living a nice, long, healthy life, but it's why bank on something that you might see 40, in your case, how old are you?
25.
25, 40 years from now, 30, 40 years from now. Who knows? I might get hit by a car 3 months from now and die, so I might as well do what the hell you want to do, have some fun, take a little risk, reap the rewards. If you have the discipline and the mindset to do it. But it's not for everybody either. So I don't want to spark somebody up. I know you sort of got a little inspiration to listen to one of the shows a while back, and might have helped spark this journey for yourself. But I don't think this is for everybody. It's definitely not. I jumped into it years ago thinking, oh, it's going to be a quick, oh man, 6 months, we're going to quit all our jobs. Still sitting here now, baby.
But hey, I mean, it's baby steps because you went from... selling out the mom's room to now your own HQ.
And it takes time. It takes time, discipline, and effort, just like anything else. But I hope, whatever that may be that some people are out there listening to the show, do your research, go for it.
Definitely
this is your sign.
Yeah.
Take that leap.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, with the holidays coming up, so you said you're doing a Black Friday sale. Do you have anything lined up for Christmas time or New Year? Have you already thought ahead into marketing plans for the next several months?
I'm sure we're going to do some 12 days of Christmas kind of thing. But
nice.
Yeah, all the holidays are going to be major sale days, of course. But I'm trying to keep a backlog of have 2 weeks basically of content and marketing and ideas. Yes. So, when I do go on Christmas holiday with the family, I can still be active with the company and posting and...
Because you got that content just there, ready to go. Nice.
Yeah.
Smart.
But, let's talk about the business plan.
Yes.
Because we talked about the money.
Yeah.
So, the money, I would say the money's attainable for, I think, anyone.
Yeah.
As long as you have some discipline with saving, you could do something like this. Maybe it takes a year, maybe it takes 2 years, maybe a little more, but it's totally attainable. The business plan, though, that was just something I just been figuring out step by step.
Yeah.
There's no book. There's no how to do a business every single step. There's no holy grail there.
Do this, do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew I had to make an LLC. I knew I needed a business license, and I knew I needed it to talk to a manufacturer and have it reputable. So I sort of had this like master list of all these things that I knew I needed to do, but it was really hard, and it still is kind of hard to determine what's the best thing to attack now.
Yeah.
And by that I mean like, I was like, okay, I got to make the LLC, I got to make the bank accounts, I got to make the Shopify for the website and figure out how to do that. But then it's like, okay, what do I do now? Do I work on the label now? Do I work on the advertising?
You can spread yourself so thin very quickly.
Wear a lot of hats.
Especially when you're doing it all in house. I mean, obviously,
you got to bootstrap the shit out of it.
Especially if you're like I say young entrepreneur. You can obviously be any age, but I guess I mean like
green in an aspect.
When you're first getting into your kind of like business here, it makes sense to try and save as much money as possible so you can put as much money into more product or new product. But that is so overwhelming. Like the photography of the product, editing all that content, that alone is a job in and of itself. Then you got the labels, then you got the 3D rendering, and you got the back end. You got to run all of that. Like you were saying, it's a lot of hats you have to wear, and you stack them up too high, you're going to fall over,
Yeah, it's definitely a lot, because in the way I look at it, there are a few things that I could outsource, like the 3D modeling and the website design. But I'm like, well, I know enough to make something and, practice the craft of making the models or making the website and the graphics. But yeah, at some point I'm going to have to start outsourcing the photography and the video editing and stuff like that. But at the start, it is a lot of, it's sort of feeling a little lost of like, okay, there's so many things to do.
Yeah.
What's the best thing? And you have to do all of them at some point, but where should you start?
Yeah. I mean, everybody starts their day with like 100% energy, like a battery, 100%. And as the day chips away, this little project takes 8%. This project takes 27%. Next thing you know, by 3, you could be fucking tapping 15% left,
Burnt out.
So it becomes a thing. It's like, all right, well, if I do have time, free time, whether you work a part-time job, you're in school or whatever, if you have time, that's time that you could devote to learn something that could save you money, down the road. But eventually, like you're saying, you start selling product, building some brand behind it, and having some cash flow come back in, that could go towards you saving your energy and time, that 15% it takes from you mentally or whatever that drains from you, that could go towards, growing the brand linear upward instead of just focusing on the same old.
Yeah.
Which it's a tough balance. It never gets easier.
Yeah. And I will say, like right now, I have a full-time job right now.
Yeah.
And so the time when I'm not at my job and I'm not at the gym and I'm not asleep is the time spent on this.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, this is like a part-time job right now. And it's like, I have such limited time. And then it's like, how do you divvy your time up? Because there's no...
You just do, man. It's crazy. And I'm sure you've realized it, man. It sucks. But at the end of the day, it's so cool to see the feedback of the product from people that will end up trying it and falling in love with it, that it's like, damn, this is what it's all about. Creating an experience for a customer.
So I'll ask both of you this, since obviously both of you have your own businesses. How do you allocate your time? Do you set a certain amount of hours that you say like a minimum or a maximum for what you need to get done during the week? Or is it more of like a task-oriented thing where it's like, by the end of the week, I need to have XYZ done. So whatever amount of time that takes is what it takes. I just have to get it done. Like, how does that work for either of you?
So for me, it's a little bit of both. Some of the things, so I used to have the mindset of like everything needs to be perfect for the task. And by that, I mean like the label. I fixated on this for forever, for over a month. And then at a certain, my girlfriend, Miranda, she was like, just put it out, like just stop worrying about it. It looks good. Put it out there. And that's sort of my mindset now, is that let's say I have, 15 hours of the week to devote to this. And some of the tasks are just the content creation.
Yep.
I just got to pump it out. If it's not perfect, who cares? So I give myself, and I'm making these videos for Instagram and social media. I'm like, all right, these are my clips. I'm going to knock it out in an hour. If I'm not happy with the finished product, oh well, either we're going to trash it or we're going to post it. And you just got to keep creating and moving on. But then some of the other tasks, you do need spend a little more time. And like the back end for the Shopify website, that's something that I'm like, okay, It doesn't matter when, I'll give myself a soft deadline. I want the website up, let's say 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You really got to be more meticulous and take your time with that.
I agree with that. Finding things that actually need attention or the attention to detail, and then some things that you can just sort of not wing it, but just get it done type deal. And it's speaking of a website, since we're in e-commerce businesses, your website is your storefront. Like that's your shop. Yeah. When literally Shopify or whatever. But when somebody comes to your website, that's their first impression of you and the brand and like their shopping experience. So like, I definitely agree that's something you should definitely take time and making sure it's, unique, branded, and obviously as little friction as possible when checking out and stuff.
Yeah, I think with a lot of things that you need to make high quality decisions and just not like the amount of time we waste by considering what the best options are. Sometimes the best option is just to pick one and do it now and not to waste going through your list of, I could do this, I could do that.
Yeah.
Just pick one and do it and run with it.
Yeah.
And if you're not pumping stuff out, you're not making the content or, just taking photos, getting them on the website, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
By thinking what's the best route.
And a lot of, I feel like, at least supplement wise nowadays, is content. We were talking briefly, earlier today about, I won't say the names of these companies, but there are some companies who have I was looking at one the other day that was, I believe, 19 trademarked ingredients. Trademarked ingredients are very expensive. To have 19 of them is your unit cost has got to be absurd. But he puts a ton of effort into having athletes and influencers and a ton of effort into marketing, pumping out content. And half the time I'm like, this is the stupidest shit I have ever seen. But that product is sold the fuck out. So half of anything nowadays with supplements is being able to sell it. Your biggest market, honestly, is that, I would say pre-adult, kind of young teen, going into the high school to college range, all through TikTok and Instagram. And it's crazy how that can completely change a business. I bought that hat I was telling you guys about. It was one of my favorite brands, $40 hat. Oh, I'll happily buy that. It looks so cool. And, now we're talking about unit costs and everything. I'm like, the markup is crazy.
Yeah.
But I was so willing to buy it. And so along the lines of having e-commerce as your storefront and who and how many people you outreach to, those two things in combination matter so much more than sitting and waiting and being well, does it have to be perfect? It's no, sometimes it just needs to be in front of people.
Yeah.
Just people need to see it, whether it's perfect or not. If no one sees it, no one's going to know about it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right 100%.
In my opinion, almost every business at the end of the day is a marketing business.
Yep.
If you want your business to be successful, whether it's pharmaceuticals and healthcare or whether it's something like this, a direct to the consumer e-commerce kind of platform, you gotta be you gotta be heavy on the marketing, or no one's gonna know. You could have the best product in the world, and if you don't do any marketing at all, you're gonna make no money.
Which I will say, so my degree is in marketing.
Looking for a job? Sorry.
Hey man, we can talk after. But what you learn in school about marketing is nothing compared to even just talking to you guys about how you grow your own business or intend to grow your own business. I have learned so much more from working with smaller businesses about marketing than this degree has ever taught me.
Yeah.
Sure, I know about things some SWOT analysis or if something's a cash cow and stupid shit like that. But all these meaningless terms mean nothing if you don't actually do it. Because most of the people who are getting marketing degrees are just going to go work at some firm and get told what to do. There's no uniqueness. There's no true entrepreneurship or creativity in the thoughts behind how to market. And the people who market best are people who've never fucking been to school for marketing. I go back again to the TikTok thing, but TikTok is literally changing people's lives. And all it is, okay, I got to get at least 2 or 3 videos out, get the algorithm. And then next thing you know, your brand is in front of so many people.
Yeah.
It's just finding wherever your market is most heavily populated and just getting in front of them over and over and over and over. It's like the gym, just consistency wins. especially on these apps, that they also make money from more people being on there. So the more you're on there, the more they're going to reward you. Just like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
A question for you, Austin. Do you find it, so I find it difficult, the TikTok side, because my personality and demeanor, I don't know. I'm just not really into like, I know TikTok is now can appeal to like a wide variety of audiences. It's not just, you know, the musically like
wow factor of like, oh man, that person looks weird or they're dancing. You know?
So now, you know, it can be anything now, but I find that most challenging for the social media aspect is learning how to use, because, you know, I'm 25, I'm an old man now. So, but learning how to use these social media platforms that didn't exist 5, 10 years, even 2 years ago. You know?
You two would know even more than me about TikTok. I try and piece things from Peyton here or there about like hard clips and throwing up graphics and stuff like that in some videos, but I still don't really get it because I'm the type that can watch a 4-minute long video and be locked in. But everybody else, and I say these kids, these TikToks are 10 seconds. If you ain't grabbing them within 8 seconds and explaining everything in your life in that 8 seconds, it seems like you don't have them. And I get it, but at the same time, maybe I'm just, I don't know, I am a little bit, I guess, attracted to things a little differently. I can watch videos like that, but I'm more so follow the brands that I do follow and like and support are brands that are usually putting out stories. Yeah. And usually they're longer than 10 or 8 seconds, you know, the TikTok reels. You know, I'm usually on YouTube. I feel like for me moving forward, which I've put out a few here or there, a lot more consistent recently, and I'm filming one currently, is YouTube's. I'd like to have somebody focusing on TikTok, but I can't do it all. Like, I'm not going to worry about Instagram. I'm not going to worry about TikTok. I mean, I'm going to post to them when I can, but I would like to create a story because I know that draws me into those brands that I do follow. Not just speaking about supplement brands, but like clothing brands or whatever brands that may be. That it's like, man, they're following a journey. They have a journey that they're showing a story, and I'm like, man, I feel that much more connected than like watching somebody do a 500-pound deadlift that's 120 pounds for an 8-second clip. Yeah, you know, which it gets views. Which, don't get me wrong, the views do equate to, you know, conversions and getting people to websites. But I think long term and creating like brand, hopefully. Yeah. I don't know it all, but I'm going to lean into that myself.
Some of the biggest, now that I think about it, some of the biggest brands, like, it goes without saying that Gorilla Mind is a perfect example of this. They are arguably the biggest brand to come out really since like C4. Like on Amazon, they've topped, I think they're actually second under C4, or they've just recently topped them. Which C4 has been around for a long time.
And if you're on the first page of Amazon, you're crushing.
Yeah. So crushing. If I really think about it, I've never seen on TikTok Gorilla Mind directly post a video that I've seen. It's like through all of their athletes where they literally don't even advertise through TikTok. You just get super invested into their story or whatever the fuck they're posting. And then next thing you know, you see them on Instagram or you see them on whatever platform, YouTube, and they're like, hey, by the way, I'm with Gorilla. Here's my code. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, everyone and their mother is like, I got to have Gorilla. It's the best. Yeah. But there's really not, I think that's where it's hard for brands is no brand is really like pushing out crazy amounts of TikTok content and getting traction through that. It's like through... They're like almost outsourcing their, it's like their own human billboards. Like their pages are a billboard, even if technically they're not actually advertising your product. It's like getting their numbers up and their views up in turn kind of cycles towards more people seeing a Gorilla Mind Instagram post or a YouTube clip. Yeah. And then in turn, it's like, there goes the sales. There goes the revenue.
Do you know this guy? His name is Jesse James West. Yes. Okay. So that's, he
was at RV Iron a few months ago. Training with Jay Cutler. What? It was kind of crazy.
Oh, because he was here for the Color Classic. Yep. That Jay Cutler runs. Yeah, that's crazy. I met him at Gold's. Nice. Jay Cutler. Yeah.
I met him at the event. Really? I was working with Shore Pump Nutrition Corner at the time. Yeah. And he came up to our table and I like took a picture with them and everything. So nice. Very nice guy.
Very nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so what you're talking about with Gorilla Mind and these sort of long format media content like YouTube, that's a really good point because I just watched a video by Jesse where he does sumo wrestling. Yeah. And it was like a 12-minute video. And I'm super invested. It's like one of sumo wrestling with like the best sumo wrestler in Japan. Yeah. And I'm super invested in this like 15-minute long video about this bodybuilder guy doing sumo wrestling. Yeah. And then at the end of it, he's like, oh, check, I'm taking Gorilla Mind.
Just launched this product, or just did this, or this just dropped, just a little slight jab at the end.
Yeah. And it's not in your face for, 6-8 seconds of just Gorilla Mind, in your face like that. Just a little bit at the end. But then, I've just watched this man for 15 minutes, and at the end of it, I'm thinking about that now.
Yeah.
So I think these companies that focus too much on the TikTok and the short media format, they're getting a lot of the quick views from maybe the younger generation, but they're not retaining. They're not building the brand. They're not retaining the people, 5-10 years from now who would be like, yeah, I still use these products.
I could say, I could agree with that. It's like I guess to add on, my perspective to it is, in my eyes, they probably aren't building a strong lifetime value of a customer. They're getting that sale. They're probably getting a couple sales from people because of the influencers and just, showing it. But as far as getting a tattoo of the brand on your body type shit, life
tattoo.
You got one? No, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
but I'll actually do them out back. I got a pen and I'll just stab you with it.
Little stick and poke action.
But the brands that I've followed for, let's say, 8 or 10 years, since I'm a little older, I'm 32. So I've followed some brands for some times now. Yeah. And, the reason I've followed them or even attached to them that hard is usually through some type of long format and or story or journey that they've showed, and it just connects a little bit more with me. And I think if it does with me, it definitely does with other people, which not to say the TikToks and shit don't work. They definitely do, because people wouldn't be on it if it didn't. But I don't know. That's answering the question, long tail, is that I think that's something that I would myself personally am going to start focusing more on. Just, hey, if it gets 40, 60 views, whatever, it's connecting with those 40, 60 people consistently, and hopefully they're going to eventually share it, or somebody else will stumble across it like they did and just connect in something I say or show and be like, damn, this dude's out there fucking getting after it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same reason why people pay the most to have billboards by the highway.
Yeah.
It's not because you're actively thinking about that thing when you see it once. It's so that you see it every day.
Yeah,
and then it's in the back of your mind. So with his little clip at the end, oh, here's my gorilla thing, you're like, maybe don't think anything of it. But you see another video in 3 or 4 days.
The third or fourth time you see it.
And you're like, shit, I'm going to buy it.
I got to check it out at least. Let me go click on the website. And you maybe click on the website, you still don't buy it. The website might hit you with an email flow after the fact, or some type of ad, sponsored ad after it, because you clicked on the website. Or you just saw, it's so many different variables and facets that could get you to see it a couple more times. And usually what's the saying? Like, you see something 7 times, you're definitely most likely going to purchase it or something like that.
Definitely most likely.
60% of the time, it works every time. But, I can admit, what about y'all? Side note, I have never bought anything from a paid ad. I click the buy now, shop now button. I've never. I see them left and right, but I just see it. I see it as a pitch, and I don't give a fuck what it is. It could be something that I truly love. I never hit it.
I think there's been 2 or 3 times where I've put it in my cart.
Okay.
Like on Instagram when you're going through stories and then an ad pops up. But I almost resent the fact that it's an ad.
Me too.
I'm just like,
I swipe.
Fuck
as
you.
soon as I see it,
I'm like, how dare you put this in front of my face? It could be
trained.
something I was going to buy the next day. And I'm like, don't put this shit in my face.
It's trained me to just not click it almost. And maybe it's something about me, but it obviously works because people pay them thousands and thousands of dollars. But, I don't know. Have you ever bought anything from a paid ad?
I think I've seen brands that I regularly buy from.
Yeah.
And I've been like, okay, maybe this will, push me into going to the website and checking out what they got. But I've never been like, oh, wow, let me click on this ad and get this right now. It's the instant gratification.
But people love that shit. They get eat up.
I
pisses
hate
me
it.
off.
It makes, it's weird that all of us have that same kind of view towards that ad, but yet people still.
And I wish I didn't have that view, though, because it hurts me being a business owner, because it just makes me not really believe in the ads and spending money on those things. I've spent, just, I guess, being transparent, Gymflow over its entirety has probably spent at least $2,000 or $3,000 in paid ads before, and we have never broke even. Never broke even. We've made money off of them, but never broke even. So it's and I guess for me to go any further with that and want to dabble with it and spend even that much more money, it's not that I don't trust them. I just don't believe in them to a certain point. If it can't sell me, why do I think it could sell somebody else? But it does. I just
it has to, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
return on that.
the less structure of it entices people to buy it more because it doesn't feel as pressured. You know, if it says, "Hey, by the way, this is an ad," I immediately am like turned off of it. I just don't want to read it.
Yeah.
But if it's like a format like some dude just being like, "Hey, I really fuck with this shit. Y'all should try it." I'm like,
A lot more casual.
yeah. I'm like, well, shit. Maybe I will. It's almost like, you know, you've worked at a supplement shop before. I've worked at a supplement shop before. The most sales I would make would be from soft selling, just like mentioning something. But then as soon as it'd be like, hey, you need to get your average up or you need to sell this type of product or this type of product, it put pressure on me. And then in turn, I put a little pressure on them. And almost always,
They sense it, I guess.
it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't want to get it. I guess that's the...
And honestly, I think it relates to, I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
but
you're
like,
good.
You don't genuinely and passionately can get behind the product, I'm sure, because it's sort of pushed on you, on you to sell. And it's like, people buy from genuine people. I mean, they can buy from some snakes, oil salesmen and shit like that. But like, people tend to like just have that gut instinct. It's like, damn, he's really recommending me this. He really is passionate about this product. He's explained it to me in so many different ways and how it's helped him.
Yeah.
You know, with products that you've never really tried or even fuck with, it's hard to like get behind it and be like, yeah, man. It's, people sense it. So
I think a lot of it is just the consumer wants to feel like it's their choice. They chose the product. They got it for them. You know, even if someone gave them like some advice or something, they want to feel like it was at the end of the day not forced on them. It was at their own free will. And then I feel like that also results in less like buyer's remorse, because I've had plenty of times where I've recommended something to someone and they're like, oh, okay, they give it a try. And then they're in the next day and they're like, nah.
Yeah.
And it's just that buyer's remorse. They're like, I really don't want this, but that guy convinced me. So if it's like, I don't feel like I have to convince you and you make that decision yourself, you end up a happier customer in the long run because you're not second guessing all of your purchases. If I had to second guess every purchase I ever made, I would not buy anything. Like I would never want to get anything. I'd never try anything new.
Yeah.
I would get the same thing over and over and over because it's reliable and I wouldn't feel bad.
Yeah, I will say like, I think you need, so I got shoes, like running shoes like 2 months ago for
Those ASICs?
I definitely want to talk about this. Keep talking. I'm going to take this.
All right, see ya. But running shoes for the Richmond Half Marathon, which I saw you at. Which
my dad ran that.
Yeah, that was a mistake for me. But
wait, hold on. You need to give the people here a little bit more information. You signed up to a half marathon
2 days before.
2 days before. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Well, okay, so my background was running growing up, but then I told you, but talked about this on the last podcast, getting heart surgery and stuff. So stopped running.
Yep.
Picked up lifting. That's sort of where I'm at now. Only been doing lifting for the last couple of years. And then all of my corporate for my company, they were like, hey, we have a running club.
Yeah.
We're all going to do the marathon.
Yeah.
Do you want to join us? And I was like, hell yeah. Sign me up. Why not? And I trained for maybe 4 times.
Yeah.
Before, every week I would run like 3 or 4 miles. And the half marathon is 13.1.
Yeah.
So every week I'd run like a quarter of that one time.
Yeah.
And so then...
how far...
Yeah.
So let me clarify, I guess. You signed up 2 days prior, but how far out did you know you were going to try and do it? Okay. Was it those 2 days, or was it like you had a month where you're like, I'm probably going to do it, and then...
It was like, it's okay, so what happened was I had a month,
okay,
but my company is opening the company I work for, we're opening a new location up in Northern Virginia.
Right.
And that was supposed to happen the week of the marathon.
Okay.
So I ran for the first couple of weeks, and then I was like, well, oh man, we all got to go open this store, so I'm not going to, guess we got to cancel the marathon, guys. And then
fingers crossed you canceled the marathon.
And then last minute, we pushed back the opening of the store.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, shit.
Now you had to do it.
This half, and I was like, do we have to do it? And they were like, you said you would.
Yeah.
So I got my ticket on Wednesday or Thursday, picked up my stuff the next day, and then I ran on Saturday doing the half marathon.
What was your time? Did you keep track?
It was like 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's like a 10-minute pace. And then the last 2 miles were like under 8, I think.
Yeah. Dude, my dad
picked up.
So mind you, my dad was born in 73. So I guess he's about to be 49. Or no, he just turned 49 in October. 2 hours, 5 minutes.
He's on the wave before me.
Ran pretty much the whole thing. He said he stopped once to catch his breath, but he just kept going.
Yeah.
And I can't do that shit.
He said, "This old man whoop your ass, boy."
Dude, I was so my brother does like theater arts, and so he had it was on a Saturday, and he had a like performance, or not performance, like a practice, I guess you would say. So he wasn't able to make it, but it was me, my mom, and my sister. And so driving, first of all, figuring out where to park for the Richmond Marathon, fucking terrible. We ended up parking on 8th and Marshall.
I don't even know where that is.
Well, dude,
downtown?
Parking in Richmond without a marathon is a shit show.
Well, so for reference, 8th and Marshall is like the end of the race was on 5th. So it's 3 blocks to the right, and I would say about 10 blocks from the finishing point. So we parked there, had to walk downhill. Thankfully, it was downhill, 10 blocks. And then we get to the like finish line, and it's gated off. You know, the whole like end point is gated off. So you can't even really like celebrate per se with whoever finishes. You just have to be like yelling through the gate, which we were when my dad ran. I have videos and everything. And he had no idea we were there. He couldn't even see us. He couldn't hear us.
Yeah.
And then we had to meet him. Same place kind of we met.
On the island.
I saw you. Yeah. On the island, which was just like it ended at the canal. There's the canal. And then there's like the island. So you just cross the canal to the island, and they had this like runner's tent where you walked through and you got a bunch of free stuff and whatever. So we saw him once he got out of that.
Yeah.
And dude had like one of his toes was bleeding. Sheesh. And he had brought like a pouch where he had like a water and like these gel packets and all this stuff. And he came through and he was like not even winded.
Yeah.
He just like finished the race, and in the like minute or two it took him to like walk towards us, he was just like, yeah, it was pretty hard, but felt pretty good. I'm like, dude, what? Like 13 miles? Bro, I don't even like driving that far.
Yeah.
Let alone run
Yeah.
for even a short amount of that time.
Yeah.
Just what a beast. Like, I don't know how y'all do that shit.
I felt terrible. The race was really cool though. You go up through the city, you come back down Broad Street, and then you end literally on an island. And it's like 17,000 people total. It's one of the qualifiers for the Boston Marathon. So it's a lot of people do it. But coming back to what I was saying before Austin left, when I got the shoes, I went to so I haven't been running in a while. I went to a running store.
Which one? Do you want to plug it?
Man, this guy was super nice. It's in Carytown.
It's called Roadrunner.
I think so.
Nice.
Roadrunner.
I think it's. I just know of one shoe store that like a lot of runners go to.
It was the first one I saw in Carytown, and I was like, well, we're going
That's
here.
it.
Yeah. So
I think I've been there once.
But so I talked to this guy for like an hour and tried on a bunch of different shoes, and it was a really just genuine conversation. Chatted about a bunch of other stuff, and at the end of it, at no point was he like, "Hey, you're gonna buy the shoes." Yeah. At no point did he try to sell me them.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he was like, "Hey, so what are you thinking?" He's like, "You want to put these back? You want to come back later?" And I was like, "You know what? This whole conversation has been extremely informative. And at no point have I felt pressured by this guy to buy, even though I do want it.
Yeah.
But it's something about being told you need like go buy this. You sort of resent it, being told what to do.
Of course.
Yeah.
But so at the end, he was like, "Hey, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "Hey, man, let's get them."
It was Asics, right?
It was Brooks.
Brooks, that's what it was.
in.
I always mix up those two.
The logo similar.
Yeah, it's like the Asics is the like 2 lines with the line through, and then the Brooks is like
it's like a Nike. It's like a messed up Nike swoosh. But
like what I see Nike as when I'm not wearing glasses, just like kind of a blurb of a shape.
The GIMP of Nike.
Yeah, the GIMP of Nike.
Yeah, but dude, I've never been in more physical pain in my entire life.
Yeah.
Until after this. So it's funny you say your dad at the end, he was like, "Oh, I could do more." At the end of the race, I felt freaking fantastic.
High, probably.
Yeah, I was like, I could do 10 more miles. Let's do it again.
Got them
run it back.
endorphins. Yeah.
And then after I got home, like an hour passed, dude, I could barely walk.
Crashed.
It was like my joints, my hips, everything.
Yeah,
It was terrible.
So how was your heart?
Oh, my heart was
How
great.
did it feel? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. That's a really good sign then, I feel like, if you can run the marathon.
Took 2 scoops of Berserker brew, baby.
Oh,
Made it through.
I wanted to say this. My
thought about that.
my dad has a tub of Walk the Line, and he took a scoop of Walk the Line
Your
before
dad's
he
a
ran the
legend,
race.
Dude. Wow.
Dude,
Hey.
he's monster.
I'll send him a check.
Yeah. Homie's basically our marathon athlete now.
Yeah, damn, dude.
So with Black Friday coming up and everything, what does Gym Flow have planned?
So for Black Friday, I've been trying to put together some apparel drops with this.
Yeah.
Mainly focusing on that because I don't know. I'd like to have more swag myself to be able to wear because I'm
Yeah.
tired of the same old like 6 shirts we've had.
Yeah.
So I made and designed one of the shirts we'll be dropping, which I'm excited about. And then I had a Gym Flow customer, a longtime customer of ours, who's a graphic designer, help me create the second shirt, which I feel like is a cool project because it was somebody that supports the brand.
Yeah.
And so we'll be dropping 2 unique limited run shirts and 2 different colorway snapbacks as well.
So this one and
the one I'm wearing.
So
It's
2
like
patch
a
logos.
gray and black and a black on black.
I love the embroidery. Like
Yeah.
it's like an actual it's not like just stamped on. It's like an actual patch.
Oh yeah, no, it's an embroidered patch, but these are actually pressed on still.
Oh, like
Yeah.
hot press?
Yeah, hot
that's cool.
press. But you and
Hard to tell, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I can send you a link. This company makes like all different types of shit, keychains, fucking patches. What do you call those? Velcro. It's Velcro patches and shit. So like if you wanted to do
That's
anything cool
awesome.
like that, they brand anything. Takes a little while. The turnaround time's forever, so I assume it's probably coming from China.
Yeah.
But they make some pretty cool.
China.
They make some pretty cool shit. So I'll send you the company name after.
sure, yeah.
Have you looked into making apparel for your company?
Yeah, that's something I want to do down the line. Right now, we're just as like accessory stuff to the pre-workout. It's just the shaker bottles, and I have like stickers and stuff like that. And I'm making a lot more stuff. I really like the idea of like stickers that you get that you can put on like a skateboard.
Yeah.
And just coming up with different designs. Right now, this is just the logo stickers, but just having, you buy a product, you get a note, you get a little sticker, and that just sort of when you're done with the product, you're like, oh man, this is that sticker.
Dude, stickers
Little
are
treat.
great.
Yeah.
Like if I get a product from any company and they send me a sticker, I am fucking pumped. I'm almost more excited for the sticker than I actually am for the product
I
half the
usually
time.
am too.
Because it's like, oh, hell yeah. Like, this looks sick. I can put it on a water bottle that I use every day, or I can put it on, like the back of my laptop. I have a bunch of different stickers. And, these 2 stickers I have, actually, are on my, I have, like, a little stand on my desk that is meant to, like, put my monitor on. And then I have, like, a keyboard I can pull out underneath it. But every time I go to do work, it's like, I got a Gym Flow sticker. I got the Berserker Brew stickers. It's like... see it all the time. I love that shit. I love stickers. I think it just goes back to like as a kid, it's like
just fun.
Oh, good job. Here's a sticker. I'm like,
I don't know. You
fuck yeah, give me that sticker, man.
That star.
Yeah,
like
give me
you said,
that gold
it's
star.
the chance to be able to like create something unique with either your laptop or your skateboard or your car, or bumper, or whatever. It's just like you can put your own twist and tag whatever you want with it.
It feels cool. Like almost like personalizing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I can put it on a skateboard. I can put it on a water bottle. I can do whatever, but it's like I get to show off a brand that I like in the way that I want to. Like I feel like more companies need to do that.
Yeah,
like if Nike would send me little stickers like that, I'd probably buy a lot more Nike shit, to be honest.
I have one more question for you, John, before we probably wrap this up. With your product launching Black Friday. And potentially dropping into a store, it sounds like, with the drop of your website. Do you have a path or a vision per se? You can have one or you don't. You just take it as you go. Of whether you want to focus on direct to consumer via your website or retail, chasing after retail, brick and mortar more.
Yeah, I thought this question was coming. So mainly direct to consumer. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is so the retailer that I'm going to talk to later today, they have to make a profit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give them the wholesale price where I'm only I'm basically breaking even.
Couple bucks.
$1 or $2 per product. And for me, I got to keep the water running. I got the website. I have all these fees to pay. I have a bunch of things that it's not just the product. So the wholesale is a great way for me to get the product out there into people's hands and have more just recognition. But at the end of the day, doing direct to the retailer is hurting me as the business.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're not making any money off it really. So it's mainly the vision that I have, the path that I have is going to be 80-90% direct to consumer. Funneling people through the social media, through the Instagram, the TikToks, the website, the word of mouth, going to events. If I go to an event or an expo, it's like, hey, go to the website. It's not going to be go to this store right now. It's going to be come to the website, check, because that'll be my store. And then maybe 10% will be put it in some retail stores, some brick and mortar stores, just so it's a little more accessible
Yeah.
to people.
And it's weird to think. It's a weird play now, especially with online just growing and growing and growing, you know. Whether it would be with Amazon or Walmart or, you know, just your own website. It's tough to like decide where you should be putting the bulk of your inventory when you are a startup like this. And even in my case, I still have to choose that daily. It's like, do I really want to send this much off and not be able to make the margin that I should to be able to just reorder product? We're not talking about driving Lambos and shit. We're just talking about reordering our own product, you know, having the money to do that.
Something big that I've noticed, you know, from working at a supplement shop was the companies that would tend to sell the most product would be the companies that would have like open sample tubs, because not only do consumers want to have like, they want to be able to hold it, touch it, feel it, go in the store and get it. But they also, like with supplements, it's such a snake oil world where you don't really know what's in. Most consumers truthfully don't know what the fuck any of these ingredients mean.
For sure.
That's why I have these.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
See,
dude.
There you go.
So when I go
that looks fantastic.
When I go to the retailer, it'll be like, hey, here's a bunch of samples.
That's
so
sick.
then the consumer, if they don't want to take, you know,
one step ahead. I love it.
Yeah.
Fuck
and you can take that home. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I definitely agree with you, Peyton. You know, people definitely want to try before they buy.
Yeah.
Because I've had plenty of people reach out via website. Hey, do you have any samples? Blah, blah, blah. You know, people that have never heard or seen the brand before. And cutting back to retail, you know, there's a fine balance of like, all right, I want to obviously direct people to my website because that's where I can not have control per se, but be able to communicate and, you know, contact them directly instead of going through a middleman of like a retailer. But, you know, it does help having, I feel like to a certain level, having some retail space of your product being on a shelf gives you some type of like, almost like brand recognition. It's like, oh, they're a legit brand because they have a, you know, a retail store, you know, a presence. So like, it's a fine line to like navigate. And obviously each brand's different with their margins and their products and how many SKUs they have and shit. But it's going to be fun, man. I think you're going into it well off and, you know, you're thinking about it. You're actually, you know, putting plans together, actually seeing a few steps ahead and, you know, not rushing it either, obviously, because it's taking plenty of time, which I think is a good thing, man, for this to not drop so quick. I wish ours probably took a lot longer because there's lots of fuck ups we made. I still do today, but tons of fuck ups because we just were able to pull the trigger. It showed up quick. We were, you know, just willy nilly, wild, wild west, throwing shit out. So I think even though it's a unfortunate event, probably a good one in your aspect to be able to give you more time to think, sit back, take a breath, think what the hell's the next move.
I agree. When I first got the product a couple weeks ago, I was like, I gotta get it out right now. The people have been waiting.
I remember texting you about that.
Yeah,
and you were like, I think I'm gonna hold off
because I felt a lot of pressure to get it out now. And Peyton and a couple other of my friends, they're like, look, man, you've waited so long. You know, do it the way you want to do it.
Hell yeah.
Take your time with it, and then drop it when you want to drop it. Don't rush this. And yeah, so even though it sucked, but it's definitely been a little bit of a benefit to give me the time to wait and, you know, do things the way I want to do it.
And I mean, dude, this is a little thing that I promise you will go. And I know you know, but having samples is huge. You know, like there are pump products I've never even tried before that because I sampled it, I ended up buying it.
Yeah.
Like I remember the first time I ever even heard of Short Pump Nutrition Corner was at a party in the gym. I tried, I want to say D-Pump, and I also tried a scoop of All or Nothing. I think I tried one of each at once. And it was the first time I'd ever had Gym Flow. I think this was either December or January of 2020 or 2021. And it was like, whoa, like a whole new world. And then I went in the other room, and it was the Short Pump Nutrition Corner table. They had PE Science, High Volume, and PE Science Prolific, and I tried those too. And I ended up, mind you, I've lived in Short Pump my whole fucking life. I'm 22. So I've been in there for 21 and a half years, and I've never seen Short Pump Nutrition Corner. It's apparently been there since 2017.
Yeah.
But because I saw a table handing out samples, I ended up going in and then spending, I think it was like $50, which is huge. So I'm really glad you thought ahead with this. I think that's going to be a big, big, big differentiator between you and some of these other supplement
My man's
companies.
got brains over here.
Thank you.
I love that though. I love that shit because you're already a step like ahead of any of your competitors.
Dude, I'm sure that like, you know, you've thought some things out and you're able to sort of obviously watch people like me or other brands in general, not just I'm no example, but like, if you just take the time, slow down, just watch what other people are doing, you're able to like put pieces together and like jump ahead 2 or 3 steps ahead of most people starting off clueless, so.
Yeah, you were definitely also a huge example for me with GymFlow, and also a bunch of other these brands that I look at, what's worked for them, what hasn't worked for them.
Yeah.
And then I can sort of, because there's no rule book for all this, and then I can sort of plan out what my course of actions should be.
For sure.
What to try out. Yeah.
I'm excited to see where it goes, man.
Me too, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to try it because I haven't. But,
thanks, guys.
John, I appreciate you coming out here and hopping on the show. I wish great success with the product and the brand, man. It looks sick. Where can people find you?
Sure. So the website, Black Friday, right? 2 p.m. Eastern time. But so the website is called Level Up Alchemy. It's the full name of the brand. And then on social media, Instagram, it's Level Up Alchemy. It's the same thing. I think on Instagram, it's just LVL instead of the word level because that got stolen. Yeah.
$5,000, man. You can have it.
$5,000. You gotta get it.
Yeah. But yeah, just Level Up Alchemy is where you can find the brand.
Well, appreciate it, man. Hopefully we'll probably have you back on down the road, seeing how things are going and
for sure
how big you probably take over this joint. We'll see.
Buy out the HQ.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully you all enjoyed this episode. If you learned anything, got any value out of it, something made you think a little bit, take action, share it with a friend.
Yeah, man.
That's how we're going to help impact, reach more people, and build this community around Richmond.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. Till next time, we're out.
Peace.